anniversary of Kingdom Keepers!
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you.
That's right, everyone. August 29th of this year marks the 10th anniversary of the release of Kingdom Keepers Disney After Dark. Now, I am majorly excited about this because, aside from Harry Potter, obviously, Kingdom Keepers is my favorite book series ever. And although I only started reading it about 3 or 4 years ago, this 10th anniversary is just really special. I have decided that this year I am going to be putting forth the Summer of Kingdom Keepers right here on Julie the Bibliophile. So today I am going to introduce you to the summer. It's going to be a series of 10 top 10 videos. In each video we will discuss a top 10 of a different element of the series. So I'm going to lay down the schedule for you that I've planned right now. The written out schedule will be on my Tumblr. I put it on my Tumblr last night. I will link that post in the doobly-doo. Okay, now keep in mind when I tell you the schedule that everything here nothing is set in stone. This is a rough draft of the schedule. I may be busy. Things may get uploaded a day later than I say they will, especially the anniversary video. The 10th video will be on the anniversary of Kingdom Keepers. That will not be a top 10. That will just be talking about Kingdom Keepers in general because it's the anniversary. That probably will not get uploaded until a few days later because I will be in Disney on the anniversary and I'm really, really excited about that. But that will be my last day in the parks and then I have to drive home. So, you know, I'm not going to have a lot of time to upload that video. But I will try to film some stuff in the parks, maybe on the anniversary, share with you some of my pictures from the anniversary in the parks, my Flat Kingdom Keepers pictures, and just talk about how much I love Kingdom Keepers in general. So here's the schedule. Today, on July 11th, we will be discussing the top 10 characters. A week from now, on July 18th, video 2, it will be time for the top 10 relationships, and this can be anything. Platonic, parent-child, romantic, it's just, we got it all. July 22nd, that is a Wednesday, and that begins Ship Week. There will be 3 videos that week as we discuss the 3 big ships in Kingdom Keepers. So on July 22nd, we'll be talking about Famanda, discussing them and counting down my top 10 Famanda moments. 2 days later, on July 24th, we're going to be talking about Wilby and doing the same thing. And then that Sunday, on July 26th, we will be talking about Sharbeck. Okay, going back to the Saturday schedule after that, on August 1st, we have the top 10 funniest moments in Kingdom Keepers. On August 8th is Overtaker Day, and we will be talking about the Overtakers, top 10 Overtakers / Overtaker moments. A week later, on August 15th, we will be bringing out the tissues and talking about the top 10 saddest moments in Kingdom Keepers. And finally, a week later, on August 22nd, we will be doing the reread results palooza, when hopefully by that point I'll have finished rereading the series, which I'm trying to do this summer, and at that point I will discuss the little things I discovered while I was rereading that I've forgotten about. So far I've discovered, for example, Amanda is a vegetarian. Who knew? I didn't. And I will also be counting down at that point my top 10 ever moments from Kingdom Keepers that I can properly do once I've reread the series and recall all these moments I may have forgotten about. So with that, let's get on to today's video! My top 10 Kingdom Keepers characters of all time! Coming in at number 10 is Finn Whitman. Now I know he's technically kind of the main character of the series, even though I don't consider him as such. You know, I kind of consider all 7 of the Keepers just co-main characters, and Finn is just their leader. But honestly, I don't really like Finn. It's not that I hate him, but he pissed me off a lot in the 5th and 6th books, particularly the 5th one. And, you know, I don't hate him as much now. He's gotten a lot better since then. And, you know, in the Syndrome, he does really romantic things for Amanda, and he seems like a really stand-up guy. And I don't hate him, I don't dislike him, but on my top 10, he comes at number 10 because I like everybody else a little bit better. So, Finn Whitman! Coming in at number 9 is Maddie Weaver, Amanda and Jess's fairly friend. Now, we didn't really know a lot about Maddie until the Syndrome, but she's this really strong character, and you can see how she'd do a lot for Amanda and Jess, and I love how complex she is because she's dealing with reading minds, and anytime she ever touches somebody, she's going to read their mind, so she has to wear gloves to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's so sad to me, like, not to be able to touch somebody. If Maddie ever gets a boyfriend, or a girlfriend, or whatever you will, I don't know what's going to happen, and it's going to be sad, but I love Maddie. She's complex, she's badass, and she's awesome. Number 8, Charlene Turner. Now, you know, Charlene, when Ridley wrote about Charlene, he kind of wrote her what you would expect to be this cheerleader stereotype, which is, when I still agreed with stereotypes, that's what I thought of her as when I was reading the books in 8th grade. That's how I would write her in fan fiction. And I'm really embarrassed by it now, because Charlene is such a deep and complex character. We've seen her have so much character development over the course of the series. She's gone from, like, being bitchy at times. Like, in the first book, you can tell she kind of fits that cheerleader stereotype, but by the end of the series, or where we are now, she cares so much about her friends, and Maybec especially. She's so sweet. Her and Willa have such a great friendship, and, you know, I just love Charlene's character development, where she's come, and how she's the exact opposite of what you would expect. Not the exact opposite. Sometimes, particularly like in The Return, she'll slip up and be, you know, what you would expect of her, but really, she talks about a lot how she's an athlete, and that's what she wants to be, and she's the opposite of what everybody thinks of her, even though she is a cheerleader, but that comes in handy in all the battles when she can use her gymnastic tricks to knock out some overtakers. What now? Coming in at number 7 is our leader, Wayne Kresge. Oh, I loved Wayne so much. When Wayne died, tears instantly came to my eyes from the moment it happened, and I cried myself to sleep that night, because it was the last thing I read before bed. It was the last thing I did before bed. It was great. But Wayne is so caring about everybody. You can tell he thinks of the Keepers as his own children, and he's so caring towards Wanda. He cares so much about the kingdom, and, you know, he leaves these riddles, and he's like a Dumbledore. He's the Dumbledore of Kingdom Keepers, and he just makes this series so great, and yeah. Coming in at number 6 is Terry Maybec. Maybec is another character who, like Charlene, is a lot different from what you would expect him to be, and that's discussed a lot. You know, the thought for Maybec is that he is going to be this big, buff, jock guy, but really, he's not into sports. He's not into sports, he's an artist, and he's really sensitive, even though he tries to hide it. And Maybec has also had a lot of character development that we've seen across the series, from the first book where he's really not caring so much about Keeper stuff, and he's being really harsh. And even at the beginning of the 7th book, you see him discussing that he's not one to brag about how close the Keepers are, and by the end of the 7th book, when Finn's being all sappy and he expects everyone to make fun of him, Maybec is the first one to agree with him and say, I wouldn't trade you guys for anything. Maybec is just so sensitive and sweet, and he cares so much about everyone, and he's not the jock that you would expect, and he struggles with everybody thinking that he is, but he's not. And, you know, he's been so mature, he lost his parents, and he's got so much going on, and it all shapes his character. And, you know, he's also, like, the funniest character in the series, I gotta say. My favorite moments in the series are when Maybec curses, and Ridley just writes, oh, Maybec should have said a word he shouldn't have. Maybec is just hysterical, and I love him. Coming in at number 5 is Del Philby. Oh my goodness, I love Philby. I would date him if he was real. Now, Philby, again, with the character development, he's a very complex character. He can be, you know, kind of an idiot at times with Willa. He doesn't really know how to express his feelings. He's so intellectual, he doesn't really deal well with the emotional stuff. But when it comes down to it, he's a really sweet guy, and he does so much for the Keepers. He dealt with Finn in book 5 when Finn was being really rude to him, and Philby has gotten them out of so much. You know, he's always crossing them over, and he's this big tech guru, and, you know, I think the Keepers really rely on him a lot. And like I said, he's just so complex because of him dealing with his emotions. I really don't know what to say about most of these characters. I'm struggling so much here, but Philby is just great, and when it comes down to it, in moments with Willa, he really knows how to be sweet and romantic and just, Number 4 is Wanda Kresge. Now, I don't know why I love Wanda so much. I've always loved Wanda so much. I think it's because when I found out that Wayne had a daughter, that really intrigued me because we saw more of a side to Wayne that we didn't know existed. You know, before he was just this old mentor, but now he's this real guy. He's got a family. He's got Wanda. And I loved Wayne's, determination for her. It was really sad in the third book when Wanda thought Wayne was dead and she was crying so much. Wanda is just, she doesn't have to help the Keepers. She doesn't have to be of an aid here, but she is. And I don't know why I enjoy her so much. I think the idea of her existence just excites me so much. So I enjoy scenes with Wanda. And, she broke my heart in The Insider at the funeral. And I'm going to talk about that in the Saddest Moments video. But Wanda was just so great, and she was even greater in the Syndrome, taking care of the parents, making sure Amanda and Jess got everything they needed to do, and kind of in that book, acting like a motherly figure to them, which they never had. Speaking of Amanda and Jess, coming in at number 3 is Jessica Lockhart, our good old Jess. We first met Jess as Jez, and we hated her because she was so evil, but then it turns out, whoops, she was under a spell. And I love Jess's dream ability, and I love the discussion of the complexity of it, how, she struggles with it, and she hates it, and she thinks it's a curse. I love when they were looking for her in the second book, and all the clever little clues she left, like Under the Sea and Chain Draw. It was just so clever, and I really started to love Jess more in the Syndrome, because the Syndrome I love so much. It really gave us an in-depth look at all the Fairleys, and, we don't discuss them as much in the books or their character. And we really got to see their characters in the books. And, as much as I hated it, she did have a fight with Amanda. She's wanting to be her own person, and I think Jess has trust issues, obviously. And I love seeing that manifest. But again, she really cares about Amanda. And I also started to love her in the Syndrome because she was making crazy puns and scrolling through Tumblr and listening to Taylor Swift. And just, she was amazing. And coming in at number 2 is her sister, Amanda Lockhart. I have loved Amanda from the very beginning. Despite her trust issues, despite her issues with emotions, she is always there for the Keepers. She has this complex story that we don't find out until the end of the first book. Actually, we don't find her story out until the beginning of the second book. Amanda starts out as the mystery of the series. And she just has such a great relationship with the Keepers. I love how independent she is, that when Finn was being awful to her, she wasn't taking it from him, despite how hurt she was because of how much she cared about him. And her determination in the Syndrome to find Finn and the way she takes charge, becomes a leader, is just so great. She's always been such a huge help to the Keepers. She's always there, and she's so sweet, and she's so complex, and she breaks my heart all the time, and I just love her. And finally, my number 1 favorite Kingdom Keeper character of all time is Willa Angelo. And if you have seen my videos, you're seen me on Tumblr, you probably know that. I love Willa to all ends of the earth. I think I'm just like her. I feel like I look like her. I act like her in personality. Willa is just great. She is the character that's not always sure she wants to be fighting with the Keepers. She's hesitant sometimes, but she always comes through, and she deals with a lot. And Willa, you always see she's kind of insecure, and then in the 7th book, there's the best moment ever with her, where she just takes charge and decides, hey, yeah, I'm going to be this independent person now, and Finn is hurt, so I'm going to take charge and hurt the Headless Horseman. And she goes all clear for the first time, and it's so wonderful. She is always determined. She knows, and she uses her quirkiness, things people would normally make fun of her for, like watching the National Geographic Channel. She uses stuff like that to help the Keepers solve the unsolvable mysteries. I just love Willa. I love how it mentioned that she's wants to get involved in theater, like me. But Willa is just great on so many levels. I love her relationship with Philby, her relationship with Finn. When Finn is being horrible to Amanda, Willa calls him out on it. Willa helps everybody who needs something to talk it out. She will be there. She is the shoulder to cry on. She is just amazing, and I love her. So that's it. That is my top 10 Kingdom Keepers characters. I will see you in a week with my top 10 relationships. Let me know who your favorite character is in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you for the Summer of Kingdom Keepers. Bye-bye!